Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and I am totally organized. Not, but it won't be as bad as yesterday where I forgot to put the chat line up because I was on a rampage over Jackson Hole. So, it's a lot better, let's put it that way. Alright, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. You can see J4X there. The dollar index just finds ways to go higher. It is an interesting, I want to say it is an interesting time now. Very interesting time. You can see there, this is our new platform. And you can see, it's got the, it's been in a buy for a while here. You can see it's above the zero line from here. It's been riding along. And then we zip over to 222. The old system that we were, that's, obviously still being used, and we're still organizing and back testing and so forth. And then you can see right there it is right there, and moving up again. And then you can see it on J4X here. It just keeps on rolling. And, I want to say like the inside Wall Street consensus. Hey, there we go. Hey, Janos, morning. DXY just jumped, and the euro passed below the 108. Yeah, it's there's some reality slowly setting in. Yesterday I said that to a great extent what it comes down to is markets are always anticipating future events. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And so, in other words, if the rumor is that interest rates are coming to the top, they buy, in this case here, they buy the bonds, and then they'll sell them when the interest rates actually start to drop. On some level, they'll sell some. They'll keep a position on, but overall, that's the whole concept. Buy the rumor, or in some cases, short the rumor and cover it after the fact. When it's finally found to be real or not real. And so what we have now is we have a market. Remember, we had people trying to tell us back in May, and I kept on saying they're out of their minds. They said, we had money managers coming on, major shows and saying, well, the Fed is probably going to try to start cutting rates in July. Here we are going into September, and they're not cutting rates, they're increasing rates. And so that's where we really are at the moment. Is that the market is starting to realize, sometimes it realizes it, and then it's like a kitty cat. Sees a butterfly go by, and it goes and finds a whole different direction. And so that's exactly what's going on now, and that is that the direction is that the interest rates are probably going to go up a little bit more. I talked about it yesterday, even when the microphone wasn't working. We're going to see another quarter or a half total. We're going to get up into the 6 area, and everybody that I pay attention to is telling us that inflation is going to start to lift back up again, and that's going to freak the market. That's why Powell can't let the rates go down, dry out, go down. They can't let them do that. They got to keep them up, because when inflation starts to lift again over the next couple months, they don't want the markets to panic and go, oh my God, they started to lower rates, or they stalled rates, and inflation is still here, and and that the odd psychological side of things, like that. So that is where we really are now. I want to go over and take a look at the euro really quick. Not leave the dollar, but you can see there's what Janos is talking about right there. It made a high today, took out 2 days highs, and then now it's rolled over. It's trying to take out yesterday's low. It's a nice tight market there yesterday. They didn't know what they wanted to do. I had a green and a red yesterday. It's kind of, you can see that it wants to try to turn up, but again, we are. Where's the zero line? Right there. So you can see on the zero line, when it comes to the weekly, let's make it thicker too so you can see it right there. You can see we've been in a sell since up in the 110s area, and you can see the fast has been in the weekly sell in the 110.25 area. So it's been underneath here for let's see if we move this over a little bit more. You see it's been pretty much from this area here. It's been telling us that the pressure is on the downside, and you can see it has been. It's usually our math is 8.5 right. So Robin says hello, hello, hello. Won't you tell me your game? I'm hearing the Doors now out of nowhere. Hello, hello. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, asset flashback, and so in this case here, that's where we are with the euro, and you look up on J4. Actually, you see that big, slow, steady climb. It doesn't let go, and that's what we're seeing on all our other charts that show the weekly, and the reason why. And now we're in the 104s. We talked about we were going to get up to the 103.5 to one, maybe touch the 104. We've touched the 104 for the last 3 days, and it seems to be holding down. But one thing is very clear. Tell me your name. Yes, indeed. Tell me your game too. And that's it. That's the Doors. And the great poet of the Doors. What was his name? I can't think of the lead singer. But he was a great poet. He truly was. So that's it. That's really where we are. The markets know interest rates are at the top of their range. Will they go a little higher? Yes. They're not at the top of the market. They're just at the top of the range. And will that be a good reason to start taking risk? That's what they say. A lot of hedge funds and a lot of retirement funds. The managers are all out there saying it's time to try to take risk. And so that's where we are. Jim Morrison, that's it. Thank you, Janos. So that's pretty much the name of that game. Now, from there, we march our way over to. Let's see. Let's go we got the euro up on the one screen. Let's take a look at the euro up on J4X. La 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 la. Right there it is, and it's it's matching up exact to a great extent. It looks a lot like the dollar index going in the other direction. It's just finding ways to break down. And the fast is at 24, and the slow is at 21. So it's trying to get through that zero line, and that's what we see here. The euro is trying right now to get through that zero line. It's right on the edge. It's just looking to try to get to the point where it may turn around. I don't know. I don't look. I know that the Richmond Fed in Richmond, Virginia, is projecting a 5% GDP. Well, with a 5% GDP, you're going to get some inflation out of that. So that's going to jack the inflation number, and that will freak even more out. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And Mr. Biden's been trying to walk around. It's really interesting. There's a real disconnect by the administration and the reality of what's going on. And so he's walking around trying to tell everybody that inflation's dead, and inflation is getting ready to kick up again. And so it's like, oh shoot, why does he do that? Why does he step on his tongue all the time like that? But he does, and there literally is no way of stopping him from doing that. And that's what's the reality of it all, is that we're probably going to see some good solid inflation start to kick up, and that's going to be a little freakier than people were expecting, and that's why the Fed has to keep the markets, the interest rates tight. They can't let them loose as much as look, they don't want, at this point, I would expect to see interest rates probably peak out in the middle of 24. Like somewhere is going into in the middle of the primaries. during the election, that type of thing. That's usually the way it works. So, uh, uh, that I think that's the pretty much when you're trying to guess the rates. It will be interesting to see a few months before if the dollar finally peaks a little bit and starts to roll over. All right, from there, let's take a look at the not the Canadian, the British pound. And there is GBP. You see that pressure. It's trading at 14. The fast is trading at 16. So the pressure is even a little bit more on that than it is on the euro at the moment. Let's get that mouse right there. There's cable. You can see it is trying to lift here, but we are moving down, just like the way the euro is moving down. But the math is trying to turn. It's trying to get a little turn going on, and you can see the same thing. We've been in since the 129 area. We've been in a weekly sell on the fast. We slid into the high 127s. We slid into the weekly sell, and now we are flirting underneath the 26 area, or in the 125s. And then let's go over here. Jump in your game. All right, right. Where is it at? Right. Cable's coming up on the system. Well, if I can find it again. Right. There it is. And so you see there the cable's breaking down. We're still not happy with the way this thing is reading, the live day itself. It's dropping harder when it should be, by tomorrow it'll show that weak, that simple, it'll be right around here or higher, more than likely. It won't be way down. And then you can see the weekly, same situation as our weekly here. So that's, let me do that. Weekly here, same situation there. And then the weekly over here on J4X, you can see, it's at 12, and the slow is at 15. So it's showing that same pressure, and you can see the hinky ashkies are all red, and it's just been heading down. And then let's see. Let's just go back to this. So the pressure is on. There's no doubt about it. And that's all because of interest rates. I'm just going to end up repeating myself if I follow this train of thought. Let's jump over to the Swiss. Right there. The Swiss, been bouncing up, not getting as punished. I talked about it before. We thought this thing would get up to like 89 and change. Didn't really think we'd go challenge these highs here. I kind of think they want to choke somewhere around the 90 area, and stop. I don't really see anything else jumping out, telling us that there's any other like warning or any other news or information that's going to change the course of where we're at. And the only thing I guess I can say, as I said a few minutes ago, the inflation is going to start to show it's increasing again, and when that happens, then it'll freak out some people again. I think that's the way it'll play itself out. All right, from there we slide over to where did we go to? Let's go take a look. And let's put it up over here too. Let's get the Swiss up on there. There's Swiss. And you can see it's flirting around with that downside. Let's put it up on J4X as a daily. And right there. The fast is trading at, is that 69? They're both at 69. 69.2 on the fast, 69.2 on the slow. It's about 1/10 at this point. So 69.3 on the fast and 69.1. It's like really close. What is that? 2.93, and the fast is at 6.95 now. And that's how we're seeing this whole market. Let's have a sip of water. What was it? Mountain. What was Mountain watching yesterday? I'm trying to think. Aussie, and take a look at the Aussie right there. And so that's breaking down today. They lifted it up yesterday and knocking it down today. And then what was the other one? NZD. That I saw on the buy. I think it was in the buy last night. No, didn't get it. It was in the sell. Okay, and that's, they lifted it up, in the Asian hours and then sold it down going into the European hours. That is that. Now from the Swiss, we'll go over to the yen. And there's the answer to the yen. 47s and change. Like I was, we're looking for that 150 area to be met again. I don't even know if there's even a simple explanation to any of this. Just that there's more buyers than sellers. That's it. 3 days in a buy. You can see it's been weeks in a buy. The fast has been even more weeks in a buy. And over on J4X, the week has been like at least 3 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks, like our fast. And the fast here is trading at 92 and slows at 89. And you can see here our fast has also been in that buy for the last 5 weeks. So, I mean, once you get them all in there joining in, there's good size upside pressure. We talked about it months ago about the new head of the Bank of Japan and how they were like doing a reanalysis of the market. They're trying to straighten out some of the old problems. Remember that they've been trapped in this stagflation, I guess it is, it's not a big inflation, but it is an inflation, and the growth has been enormously low, compared to the early years, the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. It died out in the 90s, and the stock market peaked at 39,000, and it's been in that situation where it just hasn't it dropped like 75%. It went down to about from 39,000 down to about 8,000, 9,000, something like that. And now it's come back. I think we're in the 20s, 27, 28. So you can find the Nikkei. Put that up on J4X. Let's see, not there, not there, not there. There's the Deutsch. That is the Chinese. Let's see if we can find. Let's type it in. Let's see if we can find that. Every so often when we're looking at what's going over there. Japan. Wrong keyboard. Aha. No, let's try that one more time. Nikkei? Not found. Let's see. Reuters called it a 25% of stagnation. Yeah. What is the symbol for the Nikkei? Let's see. Let me find the symbol for that. Because it plays into this whole situation. It really does. It's when we look at the JPN. Okay, thank you. JPN. There we are. Yeah, 32,000. This is the weekly. it'll spit out in a few seconds. It's still going there, and that's really the crutch of it all. You know, China is now in the same situation, so we're watching China now go through that same dilemma. There's a lot of data coming out this week too. That's another thing to talk about. We got unemployment at the end of the week. I think we've got some GDP at the, somewheres over the next 2 days, something like that. It's going to be let's see if I can see what the calendar shows. I've noticed one thing. I noticed Citibank. I always like to follow the whole market. Once in a while, I'll look at Citibank. There it is right there. So it got back to 34,000. That's not too bad. Remember, all-time high is 39,000 back in like 92. So it's been a very lost 3 or 4 decades. Let's see if we can put like a monthly up in there. There's a monthly. And make it the whole screen. Whoa, where did we lose there? Losing it all. Let's go to the daily again. Okay, there's daily. There's monthly. There we go. And so there's 2012. We were down to 8,000. That's what I wanted to confirm. I remember that. We were down to 8,000 and change from a fall from 39,000. And so, when we look at, like I said, I look at Citibank as an example because Citibank, a lot of this is the 2008 situation. Why we're in that situation is the 2008 collapse. Good old Mr. Obama brought a wonderful thing to us all. And in the end result is that Citibank is only like, it fell from $665 a share down to down to $20 a share, and right now it's trading at $40 a share. So it's still like 90% away from its all-time high, and at least Japan, has found a way to come back. They've and I guess it's, if nothing else, what it really comes down to is why they came back so strong is because first they do make money. Japan is very productive, and second of all, they have great exports, and at the same time, the equity in the world is being bought up. There's not a lot of equity anymore. Like the Wilshire 5,000 stock index only has like 3,300 shares in it now, or 33 stocks. 3,300 stocks, but it's called the 5,000. It used to be 5,000 stock. 5,000 different companies. So the world is consumed. We have very little growth going on. During the Trump years, we were starting to get going again, and then now we're back into the socialist side of our government. They always seem to tangle the development up. We don't get that growth. And looking at Japan is a perfect example of it. All-time highs of 39,000. That's, and all we can do is get up to 34,000. When the Nikkei, this is a good example. I bet we can put it up on there. I'm not sure we're going to get too far, but one thing is for sure: when the Nikkei was at 39,000, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was like at 2,000 or 2,500. It now is at 34,000, almost 35,000. So, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has moved from like the 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 area to the 35,000. Okay, it's went up tenfold, whereas the Nikkei has gone from 39,000 down to 8,000, and now is back to 34,000. There's no growth. There's no expansion. And so, you look at this, and then you watch the currency, like you see on the right. You see that it's just getting, it's losing its value more and more. Interest rates are inching their way up. They're looking for returns, and they're going towards the dollar. It's as simple as that. It's nothing more complicated than that. All right, so from there we go over to where do we go over there? We go from the yen. We go and take a look at the Turkish lira. we saw that nice, or not, I don't know about nice volatility, but the volatility. So there's that. There's the yen, and so now what we'll do is we'll drift over to the Turkish lira, and it's starting to get some heel. It's digging in there. Over here on our new platform, it's working over there, and I'm really, it really catches my eye that the fact that the product, I'm trying to find it as we speak. Let's see, where's it at? Ruble, CAD, yen. Where's Turkish lira? Euro, Turkish lira. There it is. And you'll see that here. You can see that, it went into the buy. Now that's interesting. Yesterday we pushed into a sell, and now we're trying to push back into the buy again. And so went into the buy off of this. This is marked a little different than where we have it everywhere else. Let's just show that it didn't close there. Turkish lira, right? Right there it is. And there's the Turkish lira right there. You see it right there. Closed down in here and closed in a buy on the new system, which was kind of interesting. And it's been trying to push up. Then yesterday they pushed it down into the sell again here. You can see it right there. Right there. And then you can see it's back into the buy again. They're trying to get this thing now. This is just, I guess, let's see. Mountain West says 25% interest rates. That chart might have had a hard time going any higher. To me, if we get even, you can see the weekly on the here. It's in that weekly sell. If this thing turns into a buy, can you imagine the frustration, with bankers and position holders? If this thing goes to like 31 with a 25%, it just 25% interest rate. I mean, look. I think there's only a limit you can do when it comes to look. Let's put it this way: Zimbabwe tried this stuff, and you saw where it's at. Now they have what, $1 million bills? You can buy $1 million Zimbabwe dollars. It's a $1 million bill that people use every day. So, I just know that it doesn't work as well. Turkey is not Zimbabwe, but it is definitely not going to, it's not going to grow. It's just not, and that's probably the problem of it all. It really is. So let's see. A little interesting on the tennis there, I see. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but some good action yesterday. And they start up today. What are they doing today? Oh, cool. 3 for Williams. Okay, Williams is playing today too. All right, excellent. All right, now from there we slide over to. Yeah, I wouldn't be. Let me just finish this off in my head. Let me let it come out my voice. I would not be surprised if we find ourselves back up in here again, just because of this action. It just, if they don't have growth, if Turkey can't get any growth going, it doesn't matter how much they pay in interest. People are not going to hold on to the currency. Let's see. Oh, Zimbabwe note is There's there a $100 trillion note now? Yeah, I heard that they might have had a billion note, but now they have a trillion note. The country should fix its own economy to fix the currency. Of course, that's usually the whole answer to it all. And that's exactly what it comes down to. Isn't that amazing, Janos? $100 trillion. What's that do? Buy a loaf of bread? Boy, it makes the 1930s look docile. Look, free markets, free people. that's what it really comes down to. More regulation and more government control. Nah, doesn't work. Never does, never will. All right, from there we go over to, we don't follow the Mexican peso as much anymore since it's not as exciting when it was going to be the number one brick. I wanted to have that index. It would have been wonderful. We could have had an index. So there is the South African Rand. Let's go to that. That's the number one brick now, the South African Rand. And with it, you can see it's been, it's a downwardly projection the last, I don't know, last week and a half, something like that. And unfortunately, the weekly is still heading up. And so when we go and look at gold, there's gold. You can see gold has been, with that projection on the upside. It's kind of interesting is what has really caught my eye is the platinum. The platinum keeps on lifting. Let's see. Here it is right there. Look at the platinum. It's gone from, what's that, 875 basically? 880? 886 was the low. So it went from 886 and it's at 984 now. So it's almost going up $100 over that period. And it's flirting easily with that weekly buy, as you can see right there. Last week it looked like it was going to jump into it. Something's brewing there, and we've seen silver not letting go. So it's kind of interesting. The two weak metals are getting the buying, and the gold is just firm, but the silver and the gold are in weekly sells, but they're trying to get into the buys. Not the gold as much. Let's just put that there. But that when platinum does that, I really take it serious. You can see here, gold the fast is just breaking through the zero area, but the slow, the slow algo on the weekly is way behind. And then we go over and look. Let's put the South African Rand up on J4X. Right there. And so you got that rolling over, and you see the gold, moving up, trying to move up. It's plateaued more than anything else, and it's gone from the 1920 area to where we're at now, 1945, 1955, that type of thing. It's not the biggest move, but platinum has almost done $100 in the same time period. And then we go over to silver, and silver has been somewhat the same way. It's been showing lots of strength. It's gone from the high 22s to we're right on the edge of hunting down the 25. And you can see the weekly is very close. It was very close last week. You can see the fast jumped through it last week with no problem. And and as Robin has said, the poor thing always wants to roll over every time we get gets up into the 26s. It freaks everything out. Yeah, so that is that's really the story there. The metals is doing that, and copper. What we always say, copper is like what's going on in China is copper, and you can see copper's tried to lift in the beginning with that, but the losses and the pressure from Evergreen and their economy not growing and they're in desperate shape. So that probably has copper just sitting sideways. And maybe more than anything else is that copper's not really going to move much because they're not going to sell it. Look, they have chosen not to protect investors outside their country. And so investors have to think a couple of times before they think about investing in China. In other words, they know that's going to be something that's going to be lost. In other words, they build $1 billion factory there. They know that in the end, they got to make their profits on the slave labor as soon as possible so that they can not worry about the $1 billion. And so, that's really callous sounding. It doesn't sound good, but it's a fact. Money does not come out of China very easily. The Saudis, with that Saudi buy, that was so obvious. The Chinese were so proud that they got the Chinese, the Saudis to sell them oil in yuan, and the Saudi minister is a sharp guy, so he sells them X amount in oil, They pay it in yuan. The next day they transfer it down to Shanghai, and they convert it into gold, and then they ship the gold back to Saudi Arabia. So in the end result is China basically sold, or China bought oil with gold. That's what they did in the end. I don't think you're going to see them walking around beating their chest about that too many times. The last thing they want to do is sell. They don't want to sell their gold. They don't want to lose their gold. They want to buy their gold. And so that was an interesting adventure to watch. You don't see it going on every day, and you don't hear China wanting to, transact oil in yuan when they're going to convert it into gold the next day in China itself. Now, I guess it would be nice if they took the yuan outside the country, but no one really trades that product. So, there's so many problems for China in many different directions. The ghost cities, the real estate, the lack of free markets. It just goes on and on and on. All right, from there, we're going to slip over to, we saw platinum. Oh, we got palladium now, too, we can look at. So let's look at the palladium. There's September palladium. And it was trying to lift this morning. Looks like it's lost that move altogether. And the weekly was trying to lift, and it has disappeared altogether. That's kind of interesting. So that pressure is backed off, and the palladium has fallen down. It's in the sell. It was trying to lift, and it's in the weekly sell going on a third week. And that's the palladium. Do we have palladium? I don't think we have palladium on J4X. Let me just double check. PALLA. There you go. There it is, palladium. Now, palladium was interesting. I guess we had somebody following it last year. I think it was trading at $2,000 an ounce. Let me see what the chart shows. There's 1,600. Yeah, it was up 1,800. I remember that. We had a client following that, and we went into that weekly sell, and it just kept on driving down from there and never looked back. It never got back to the 2,000 area, and they sold it down to the two. It was a 75% loss. No, wait a minute. From 2,000 to 1,200. So that's a 41% loss. It's a big drop. I mean, compared to, I hope they weren't arbing gold. They really got their heads handed to them, because gold only fell from like the 2,100 area down to the 1,900. Lost $200 or $250. So let's see. What else can we say? Then I keep on seeing Mountain's statement. So you're saying the country should fix its own economy to fix the currency rate. Yeah, he agrees. I like that. Yeah, that's exactly it. I have to say that a second time. I love that. I agree. All right, now that's the end of the metals. Let's go over to Canadian and see what the Canadian is up to. There's dollar CAD. It's been on a massive rampage. It doesn't seem to be following. Oh, excuse me. It's not following the oil market, which is really odd. It just, whatever's going on in Canada, obviously one thing's for sure is they don't want Canadian dollars. Obviously their economy's not doing well at all. Let's put it up over here. There's the oil market. There's the front month. There's October trading at $80.32, and I think there's about $1 premium going back into December. December's trading at $79.43, so there's an 88-cent premium, and you can see it's just flirting with the sell. We got a green and a red going on, whereas in the front month, same thing. It's flirting around with it. The line is below the zero line, and at the same time, let's see, that needs to be moved over there. And at the same time, let me just save that. You can see here it's trying to lift up, it's got a green and a red going on. So obviously there's some interest in the energy market, like there always is. And it's to actually think that they can get rid of fossil fuels just just an impossible concept. Just an impossible concept. All right, now let's see, where do we go from here? We go to natural gas. There you go. There's the October natural gas. It's flirting with the daily sell. It's been in a weekly sell for a few weeks. Both the fast and the slow are heading south, that's for sure. Over here on J4X, same situation. You'll see the lot of red here kicking out. Oh, that's a little. Oh, that's Canadian dollar. That's why it's not that. Natural gas, natural gas, natural gas. Right there. You can see that, and that's the. It went into the sell last week. It's kind of vacillating back and forth a little bit. Buy, sell, buy, that type of thing. You can see the fast is at 33, the slow is at 36, so that pressure is there on the weekly too. All right, now from there, we take a look at that energy company down in Spain and try to get a flavor of what's going on. Especially now that I have it on my platform, I can actually see what the math looks like. Let's see, where's that at? It is not there. That's bonds. That's the bond. Not that. Not that. Right there. Trading in the 26s. It's come off the 25.22. A little disappointing, no doubt about that. Let's see if we can find it here. Not that. Right there. There it is. And you can see it's up into the 26s. It's made a bounce. You can see it went into the daily back about 5 days ago. And the weekly is actually trying to turn up. This is, I mean, maybe they're anticipating the winter now. In other words, they're starting to buy. I would love to see this thing. I was hoping that it would fall down into the 22s and maybe they would set a lower high. And I would hope that's what's going to happen for Europe. Because of the amount of pressure there. Let's see. Mountain says the Canadian dollar doesn't really follow oil prices anymore. I know. What is up there? What's going on in Canada? Like it used to in the last, not even the last decade, for the last, I want to say the last 3 months, it's really broken away. And we don't really see the Canadian statistics, but we know that Trudeau has a minority government. So he has the socialists now, they're in partnership with the Labour because they couldn't get enough votes. So they're even further to the left than they were before, which means nothing is getting done, and that means there's no growth. I mean, that's pretty much what it all plays out to, which is very disappointing. It used to be, we used to watch the NASCAD. That was a really good insight. Let's see what it looks like. We haven't looked at that in a while. Let's just put that up there, NASCAD. That's referred to as a loony trade. I know that the gold coins are loony, but they used to refer to it as a loony trade. It was an oil trade. Let's see, right there it is. That's why we have NASCAD up on there. And as you can see, I guess what it is that it's NASCAD. So as this goes down, Canadian is stronger, right? That's what it really comes down to, is that the Canadian is actually, let's see, so it's NASCAD. So if there's 80 Kiwi to the Canadian dollar before there was 81, it's losing money against this too. So the loony trade is even showing that same situation. Let's do this. So you can see here, what is that? That is the middle of July. And let's put the Canadian up on here. There it is. No, that's not it. There it is. That's the loony trade. There's the dollar. Yeah, It's an interesting. It's like a reverse head and shoulders. What? I guess without the growth, Canadian is just going to go sideways for a while. And in this case here, it's going sideways in the wrong direction, up. So, yeah, I don't know. It is an odd thing, and that's why we moved away from the NASCAD and we moved to just the flat out Canadian, looking at it straight. But it's doing the same thing. NASCAD's gaining against the Canadian. Obviously, it's beyond the Commonwealth situation there. All right, and then let's just take a look at the energies themselves. So we've got the Canadian up on here, and normally you can see this will match up with the oil to some extent. Let's see, right there. So there's October oil, and there's July. You can see as July oil was moving up. You can see that, moving up very firmly, and we saw that at the beginning of July. As a matter of fact, there's May, and that's June. Going into June here, you can see it was doing fine. It was following the oil market, and then all of a sudden, in the end of July, it turned around. It stopped. Just as right, I guess it would be like right here, and as oil plateaued, I mean, they started selling the Canadian dollars, which was kind of odd. You would have thought they would have hung out like at the 133, 134, 131, 32 area, just vacillating like that. Instead, they just started selling Canadian dollars. So there's other reasons besides the oil market it's moving, and it's obviously superseding that. In other words, it's it's obviously whatever's scaring the daylights out of oil. I'm not oil. I'm sorry, Canadian. It's not going away, and you can see the Canadian, to a certain extent, you can see here's the oil on the screen here to the right. You can see oil's trying to back off. It's peaked here, and it keeps on trying to push down, and of course that would make sense for the Canadian to start heading back down again, but it's not. And so we just, can't, no reason to beat on that story any more than what it is. All right, from there, let's see, where do we go? We got, that's Canadian, that's energies. We've seen all the metals, and we've seen the natural gas. All right, so we're done there. Let's see what Brent, let's just finish it off with Brent, though. And we can put Brent on the other one, too. Where's that at? Brent. There's Brent there. And, excuse me. Not there. Yeah, it's there. There's Brent. On our new platform. And you can see it's slid into a weekly sell last week, and it's in there now. Same as the way regular oil is right there here in the States, slid into the weekly sell. And so you can see here, last couple of days it's been showing strength. It's trying to lift up, but overall we are now in a weekly sell. So I guess we'll see some. It's hard to believe we're going to see much weakness in the actual crude oil area, but I guess what we'll do is you can see, as we showed on the J4X there. And that's the weekly there. Let's put the daily in there. There's the daily. You can see overall, it's peaked out too. We've gotten that peak out in the North Sea oil of $88, and it's hanging out down in the 82s, 83s at this point. And that is that. From there, what else can we have to say? I guess that's it for the Brent and the oil. Now we'll finish this off by taking a peek at the stock indices. And there's the S&P 500. And that's the daily. You can see it's trying to lift up a little bit after that nice big sell-off from the 4,600 area. We do see some strength trying to evolve. They're trying to get some pressure on the upside. Excuse me. But you can see here, Robin likes trading the SPY. And you can see the product has been down and it's trying to lift up, but we're not getting enough buying. A little buying in there today on our work, and you can see the weekly is starting to make a nice turn there. And same thing going on over here. There's the S&P futures contract trying to get it. That's in the buy for the last 3 days, whereas the Nasdaq is still, or the Tech 100, you'll see, is having its problems today. It is trying to get going. You see that there. So interest rates really on this particular index, more than the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, interest rates have a lot of an effect on the tech, since they're very cash hungry all the time. So they're always borrowing capital, and so interest rates obviously influence their actions. And what else can we say about any of this stuff at this point? Let's see. Let's see now. Guess anybody want to see anything particular before we get out of here? At this point, we've gone through it all. Oh, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's just put them up. The Dow is definitely firm. And it's very. I think yesterday was like second day of a back-to-back buy for like. It's been flipping back and forth. There it is, right there. And you can see the daily on our new system is trying to lift up, just like the way it is with the NQs and the S&P 500. And over here, same situation. Trying to lift up in here. Let's see. There is always something research and there. Oh yeah, without a doubt. Let's see. 5% move due to lawsuit settlement. Let's see. Oh, what? Oh, the 3M. Isn't that something? Yes. Yeah, the earplugs. Yes, I saw that yesterday. Like it used to be. Let's see. Any thought on the upcoming jolts? Jolts. 3M was in the news. Yeah. And then 5% move due to lawsuit settlement. Yeah, I know. I was watching that yesterday morning. It was funny to watch that happen. They said they were going to pay X amount of dollars to the army or the military, and the stock went flying up like $5. It was pretty good. There's always some research and discussion. It really is. Now, jolts. What is jolts? Can I get that up on J4X? Jolts. Let's try to punch that in. J-O jolts. Let's see. LTS. Nothing there. Job opening and labor turnover survey. Oh, really? Is that today? I know there's data coming out over the next couple of days. Let's see. Number of job openings during and reported over the month, including the farming. Yeah, that's coming out Thursday and Friday, as far as I can tell, because the first of the September 1st is Friday. Is that right? Yes, September 1st is Friday, and so yeah, that's the way it's going to be playing out again. Not hearing any. The real numbers I'm hearing. They're expecting some good numbers. In other words, an increase. I don't know if that's good or not, but they're expecting some more job increase numbers, and that's because the Richmond Fed is reflecting a 5% GDP, so that's going to have some influence on the unemployment rate. That's where we stand with that. Does that make sense to you? But yeah, that's what we're hearing. Oh, today. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, well, some of these numbers are going to start popping out. This is I saw a headline on Zero Hedge. Whoop, there goes the mouse. I saw something on the headline where it said, what did they call it? Something about 10 best days. No. Futures flying ahead of it was like something like there's a information dump this week. That's how they phrased it. Uh, U.S. stocks are underpricing recession. Yeah, it's like some type of dump going on. And so that is it. All right, traders. I guess we'll get out of here. One other thing, Janos, just to show it. Here's the VIX. The VIX is not really doing. We're just not seeing any real action. It's been in daily sell for 3 days. It tried to get into, it went into the weekly buy a couple of weeks ago, and then it just rolled back over again. There just isn't. There's not enough fear out there, and even when it is, it seems like they sell the volatility because they know that, the Federal Reserve is stuck in between it's stuck in a very tough position. They need interest rates to come back down again to help out the election. So that's really on their back. All right, we're out of here. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you tomorrow on Happy Hump Day Wednesday. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Be safe, be smart today.